The Pentagon just made a major move at the southern border.
New just this hour, the Pentagon announcing it is sending up to 1,500 troops to help secure the southern border.
What did you guys expect from Trump's first 100 days? Because I expected a lot, but dude, I guess I didn't really realize what that looked like, man. We are hitting the ground running. The Trump administration is beefing up security at the U.S.-Mexico border. President Donald Trump has swiftly followed through on his day one executive orders. On Wednesday, January 22nd, the Pentagon announced it was deploying 1,500 active duty troops, including U.S. Army soldiers and Marines, to the U.S. southern border with Mexico. They will arrive in El Paso, Texas, and San Diego by California next week. This is just the beginning, Acting Defense Secretary Robert Salas has said.
With your vote, we will seal the border, stop the invasion, and launch the largest deportation effort in American history.
There are major humanitarian issues with the way that we've allowed various NGOs to work with our federal government as well as foreign governments in taking advantage of the situation at the southern border. And so I love to see the action come behind the campaign rhetoric. We gotta get these cartels off our streets, and we gotta put an end to the abuse of our immigration system.
News Nation obtaining this new video. It shows some of those efforts already happening. You can see buses here transporting migrants back across the border into Mexico. But it's not only those near the southern border being sent back. The president's policy also targets so-called sanctuary cities, like here in Chicago, where ICE raids are expected at any moment. And the new Trump administration policy now allows those federal agents to target migrants at churches as well as schools.
The troops will assist Border Patrol agents and help in the construction of barriers. However, there is no plan for the troops to engage in law enforcement as they have for decades past. The Pentagon said it will provide military aircraft for the Department of Homeland Security deportation flights for more than 5,000 detained migrants. Defense officials said the department is prepared to send even more troops if needed, including up to 2,000 additional Marines.
Now, this will accompany the 2,500 troops already at the border. They were put there in March of 2024 by none other than the Biden administration. So this is adding to what is there. I'm sure this will be spun by the media as some sort of novel and extra constitutional act by current President Trump. But indeed, he is simply adding then to the troops that are already there from the Biden administration. And this comes with the context of that executive order with NORTHCOM, reorienting them to secure the southern border.
It's different. Look, I live in Texas, and I can tell you Border Patrol agents that I know well said for the last 4 years they have been directed by the Biden administration to not do their job. They said, imagine going to work every day and you're told you cannot do the job that you swore an oath to do.
He's even considering sending 10,000 troops down there.
Now, after being processed by Mexican authorities, deportees will once again be boarded on those buses and head to Mexico City with several stops along the way. Now, in a new exclusive interview with News Nation, Mexican immigration officials revealed their plans to handle the influx of the deportees, saying that they are ready to open up 3 new shelters just south of the U.S. border. Each facility will hold over 2,000 deportees, providing temporary lodging, food, and medical checkups. But an important detail here is that these shelters will only accept Mexican nationals deported to Mexico.
Donald Trump is considering sending 10,000 soldiers to the U.S.-Mexico border as part of a huge immigration crackdown, according to leaked internal memo. As part of his promise to tackle the issue of illegal immigrants incoming to America from the South, the newly returned U.S. president has already pledged to continue building the border wall. But according to the new memo, Trump is now considering bolstering troop numbers along the border significantly more than the 1,500 soldiers he's already sent. The memo details ideas for Mr. Trump's crackdown on immigration that suggests these numbers will soon be swelled significantly with up to 10,000 soldiers deployed. The Customs Border Protection Memo is dated for January 21st, just one day after Trump's inauguration. It shows a plan to dispatch 10,000 soldiers to help the agency.
All right, so we also know, Jorge, that the administration has reinstated that Remain in Mexico policy. Do we know how Mexico is reacting?
Tent shelters go up on the Mexican side of the border with the United States in anticipation of an influx of arrivals.
El gobierno de México cuenta.
The government of Mexico has the operational capacity to assist our returning brothers and sisters. They are not alone.
The memo also reveals the U.S. Department of Defense bases could be used as holding facilities for migrants waiting to be deported. Hours after being sworn in, President Trump declared a national emergency at the border with Mexico, saying America's sovereignty is under attack.
Donald Trump has promised to carry out the largest deportation program in U.S. history.
Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. The vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end.
And in support of all this, something just passed both chambers of the House and is on its way to be signed by Trump that gives law enforcement and ICE way more power to act on detaining these criminals early before they're able to actually hurt people. The Laken Riley Act passes the House and heads to Trump. The Laken Riley Act requires U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement to detain illegal aliens who commit theft, burglary, larceny, or shoplifting offenses, assault of a law enforcement officer, or any crime resulting in death or serious bodily injury so they cannot reoffend or commit further crimes. This legislation will also ensure that states have the standing to bring civil actions against federal officials who refuse to enforce immigration law or who violate that law.
And as the Mexican government continues to prepare to receive those deportees, they say they will be sending around 180 buses to Mexican border towns to then bus those deportees to the interior of the country. And Nicole, with my sources, I have confirmed that officials in Tijuana also started to receive Mexican national deportees as of yesterday. More are expected later today.
It sounds like Mexico isn't necessarily on board with our new immigration policy, but they understand it's happening regardless, and so they've developed some infrastructure to facilitate.
Somehow, almost everyone brings money for their journey, but they are also being supported with a discount from the federal government so they can purchase another bus ticket at a given amount at a discounted rate. Those buses are provided for free by the National Institute of Migration.
Yo, guys, I don't know about you, but I am shocked. I am so used to rhetoric from our politicians. I have been so desensitized and disaffected by the corporate PR game that our politics has become that it is insane to see an administration come in with this level of action. Now, if we can find the missing kids, let's find those missing kids. And if we can't find the missing kids, let's find the people who are the reason we can't find the missing kids, because someone needs to answer for that. Michael Cloud demands answers from ICE over nearly 300,000 missing migrant children. Rep. Michael Cloud is demanding a response from Immigration and Customs Enforcement regarding a report that found nearly 300,000 had just disappeared from tracking. This is October 2nd, 2024. A recent report from the Department of Homeland Security Office of Inspector General found that over 300,000 migrant children under the care of the Office of Refugee Resettlement effectively disappeared from radar. In a letter to ICE, Acting Director Patrick Lichtlitzner and Cloud expressed worries that the failure and oversight left the children vulnerable to trafficking and forced labor. Over 291,000 children had never been issued proper notices to appear, while 32,000 more had missed their court dates, with ICE completely unaware of their whereabouts, according to the report. So guys, in reality, we are barely scraping the iceberg that is our dumpster fire of immigration policy in our southern border and the damage that it's caused. There is so much to tackle, so many people that need to be held accountable, so much that needs reform. We are just getting started. And the wild thing is, even though it seems like we're hitting the ground running and we're moving at such a fast pace, when you look at the scope of what needs to be accomplished, not only at the southern border and the damage that's caused and the corruption involved, but the corruption in our federal institutions of government, the weaponization of government, with everything involved, it's like we're still not even moving fast enough. But hey, I'll tell you what, this first week between the pardons of the J6ers and Ross Ulbricht, sealing up the border, the Israel-Gaza peace deal, Russia saying they're ready for talks, this is one for the history books. Hey, thank you so much for joining me, guys. I appreciate you. By the way, I break down how propaganda is structured and the industry behind it and how it gets to your face in the news feed right up here in this video up here. Check it out, guys. I scoured Trump's day one executive orders so you don't have to, and I got the top 20 most important ones right here.